We got the pleasure of watching The Martian, which will be in theaters soon, starring Matt Damon, based on the novel by Andy Weir. And when I say we, I mean myself and John Iadarola.
Oh, we got the pleasure of me too. Hi, everybody.
Hey, everybody.
Yeah, we got to see it. It was quite exciting. After having seen about half of it,
we saw 15 minutes at a Science in Hollywood event, and they said, you know what, you can watch the rest now.
Yeah.
So we did, and today we're going to review that.
Okay, so let's do the math. I have enough food to last for 50 days.
He's going to starve to death long before we can help.
So I'm going to have to science the shit out of this.
And we both already explored the science of. If you want to check out that video, I'm sure there's a link populated somewhere around here.
Yeah.
But we finally got to watch the whole thing. What did you think of it? I was very stunned by it visually, and I thought the pacing was a lot better than the book. I mean, obviously the book is much longer, but I thought it got to the most important point right away.
Yes, yeah, they really got into how he gets stranded there, which should not be a spoiler since it's in all the trailers. And they cut out a couple of the parts of the book that are sort of interesting if you're a hard science nerd and you want to learn about that stuff, but there's no reason really to go into it to the depth that they did in the book, in the movie. As you said, I too was stunned. It's interesting that this is a movie that generates both sort of a newfound respect and admiration for what humans are capable of doing. Not that we can do exactly what's in the movie or anything, but that like we do stuff like that. Like we have scientists working at JPL and NASA and all these different places that can do things of this sort. So that's amazing. And then that they could make a movie like this that is so beautiful, the space scenes and the Mars scenes. It's just so well done that it makes me respect both scientists and filmmakers, actually.
It's set in the year 2030, and it's kind of, it doesn't look that much like the current modern day space program in terms of, I think the ISS has been replaced by its successor by this point. The suits are all radically different. They're
the Hermes is beyond anything we're capable of making. It's very gorgeous.
I mean, when even his vehicle that
the rover, yeah.
The one that he drives, that's as big as a van, it looks like the Mako from Mass Effect.
Yeah, but it's not impossible to imagine that by then, I mean, he's on like the third or fourth manned mission, I think the third manned mission to
Ares
Mars.
3.
Yeah, it's possible by then that we could have something like that stuff. Yeah.
I do feel that this movie, it did add a few scenes extra from the book. The ending is a little bit different, the climax. I'm not going to say what it is, I'm just going to say it's a little different. And then there's an added...
They blow up the asteroid.
He has a graphic sex scene with the Queen of Mars.
It's pretty awesome. I didn't see it coming, but
No.
I'm glad that they both did.
Gross.
Anyway, sorry.
Every time. But there is an added scene at the end where we kind of see, what happens after they're back on Earth and where
if they
their
get
lives.
there.
And I mean, if what happens post whatever happens, and where are their lives at, what's going on, I think it has a very, very pro-science message and a
I think so too.
Innovation, exploration message, which I really liked. I thought maybe the epilogue, some of it could have been trimmed down, but I did like that we went out on this note of, let's keep exploring, let's aim higher, let's not stop this. And then throughout the movie, we have. We have Jeff Daniels as the president, the head of NASA, and he's constantly going back and forth with
head of the Mars program.
The head of the Mars program, who is like, we need to go move these satellites, we need to do this, we need to do that, we need to do all these things that are astronomical in order to get Mark home.
I know how to save Mark Watney.
But we need the Hermes crew.
We either have a high chance of killing one or a low chance of killing 6.
I'm not risking their lives. It's bigger than one person.
No, it's not.
We have this scene that I really like that I don't really remember in the book, but he says, look, we're on the same team. I can't have a disaster, or they're not going to let us do this anymore. I'm trying to keep us in the air.
Yeah.
And I think they did a good job of demonstrating how difficult not only space and science are, but how difficult it is to get funding over and to get it all to happen.
Yeah, and I agree. It's an incredibly pro-science movie, one of the most pro-science movies I think I've seen in decades. And it's interesting that you see the bureaucratic sort of wrangling and the wanting to get funding, but you never see it from the point of view of the government or the point of view of the military. Like, they're not concerned with that stuff. Like, this is what the science community has this problem and they're going to fix it, and I kind of like that. And yeah, overall, I thought it was a great adaptation of the book. I thought that it was funny in the same way that the book is.
I don't even know what language that is. Is that Armenian? Me.
I do have to say, though, and I'm not the first person to say this, but there are a couple of things that happen that are not scientifically accurate.
Sure.
And this is a movie, I know it's science fiction, but this is a movie that is supposed to be based on, as much as possible, real science, the way it would be.
It's supposed to be based on actual calculations on how certain plans would work.
But the biggest thing for me is there is a thing where they need to slow a vehicle down at some point. I'm not going to be any more specific than that. And the way that they do it, you would never, ever, ever do that. And that's what most people have pointed out as a mistake.
It looks awesome.
But even if it worked, the fact that they slowed it down has huge consequences that they never return to, which I think is a gigantic hole in a movie that is so
Is it the
careful.
thing that I said was a little bit different from the book?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Yeah, I understand what you mean then.
Yeah, but there's a couple of other little things that wouldn't actually work out the way that they say they would, but they're exciting enough that I'll give them a pass. One has to do with a particular superhero. Again, I'm not going to be any more specific than that. That'll be a part of the fun of watching the movie.
Yeah, so overall, I know we don't have a rating system, but I thought it was very good.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I could totally see watching it again. I'm sure that I would notice things that I didn't the first time.
I noticed something right away was that they used the reporters in the same clothes, in the same standing position. In
clearly
a
filmed it
scenes
all at
that are
once.
2 different days apart, but whatever, you know.
Exactly.
The magic of Hollywood is sometimes seeable. So check out The Martian, that's coming out October 2nd. We liked it a lot in terms of cinema, science fiction, science fact,
comedy,
pro-science, comedy.
Drama,
there's some
erotica.
There's some nerd shit in there, y'all.
There's a lot of nerdy shit.
I think you will actually
And there's
like
shit.
it.
There's actually shit as well.
And there's some poop. So to end on that note, thanks for watching. Please let us know what you think of The Martian, if you've seen it, if you want to see it, and please subscribe. And don't forget to like for more.